This show is designed to give general information related to investing and finance. Neither Aaron Katzman, his guests, nor the radio station are rendering legal, tax, or specific investment advice. If you need such advice, contact a licensed advisor.
And welcome to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We're here to speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. We've got a really interesting topic today for you. Before we get to that topic, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to email me at Aaron, A-A-R-O-N, at Lighthouse with an L, Aaron at lighthousecapital.co.il. That's Aaron at lighthousecapital.co.il. Or you can check me out on the web at www.aaronkatzman.com. That's www.aaronkatzman.com, aaronkatzman.com, aaronkatzman.com. So, we are going to speak to you today about the magic of compound interest. Now, this is a hard topic, but it's a really important topic. And why is it an important topic? Because in certain respects, and it's complicated, but there's a Nobel Prize winning chemist whose last name is Waite, I believe, or Wyatt, I'm not sure. Levitt. Pick your last name. Anyway, he sort of became a rock star in China a couple months ago for predicting the end of the coronavirus. And he actually compares trying to prognosticate coronavirus with compound interest. And he likes to say what's really important is not the new amount of people infected, but the rate in percentage terms of those new infections. And once you get that percentage dropping, you're in good shape and things are going to start clearing up. But that's for another time. But that's sort of, we got to stay coronavirus. That's all anybody's talking about. So we also need to speak about coronavirus. But although we often hear about the wonders of compound interest, most people don't have a clue what it means, and because of that, they miss out on the benefits. Now, the famous Albert Einstein had a couple of very popular quotes attributed to him. Now, we don't really know if they're true or not, but they regard compound interest. It is known that Einstein referred to compound interest as the greatest mathematical discovery of all time. And on another occasion, he claimed it was the eighth wonder of the world. Now, whether that's true or not, I really don't care. And if it wasn't Einstein, it was Katzman. I said it, okay? I'll take credit for those quotes. It was not Einstein. I am the one who said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. We'll just leave it at that, okay? It's Katzman's rule of finance. Now, what is compound interest? Well, it's the ability of an asset to generate earnings, which are then reinvested in order to generate their own income. Okay? Stay with me. I know that sounds like, what are you talking about? Well, you can understand. In other words, the term compounding refers to generating earnings from previous earnings. The magic of compound interest transforms your hard-earned money into a very efficient tool for building long-term capital. For compounding to really work, it's necessary to reinvest all of the earnings over time. When an investor gives more time to his investments, like the longer time period, right, the more likely you can optimize the income potential of that original sum. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I know that examples on the radio, on podcasting, is not so simple when you're speaking about numbers, but my brilliance is that I can make complicated simple. Okay? In fact, I'm the one who said the greatest mathematical discovery of all time is compound interest. Remember, it was not Einstein, it was Katzman. Okay, so let's go to our example. Let's say you had $5,000 in an account, and that account paid you 5% annually for 5 years. What's that mean? That you'd earn $250 a year over 5 years. That would give you $1,250 of interest. But now, if we compounded that, or if we took $5,000 paying 5% in compounded interest, you're going to earn more. You're actually over 5 years going to earn $1,381.41, but we'll leave the 41 cents, okay? Meaning that you're making an extra $131 over 5 years. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but imagine over 30 years, and imagine you had more than $5,000, and you can start saying, well, this is getting interesting. Hey, Jim, this is getting interesting. That compound interest thing, you ever hear about that? That's a really interesting way to make money. So what does that mean in this case? It's because when the investor earns interest on the interest, your yield actually, we said 5%, right? But it really turns out to be about 5.52% a year, which is like, hey, slam dunk. I thought it was 5%, but I'm really getting an extra 0.5% annually, right? You might say, oh, what's a 0.5%? Yo, Katzman, big deal. Like $100 over 5 years, $130 over 5 years, like big deal. Why are you doing a podcast about that? Well, again, if you multiply that over 30 years and you multiply that by more than $5,000, the difference is going to be like, I don't know, a couple $100,000. Does that get your attention? You could earn an extra couple $100,000. Now you're listening, huh? I picked your interest. You're listening to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We're speaking to you about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from Jerusalem, Israel. And if you got any questions or comments, feel free to email me at Aaron, Aaron, at Lighthouse with an L, lighthousecapital.co.il. That's Aaron, lighthousecapital.co.il. Or you can check me out on the web at www.aaronkatzman.com. That's www.aaronkatzman, aaronkatzman.com, aaronkatzman.com. We are speaking to you about the magic of compound interest, okay? And we just went through a little primer, a little math course, pretty simple, but showing that even over 5 years, the difference can be significant in terms of the point of getting your earnings reinvested so that you can make interest on your interest, as they say. In Hebrew, they say rebit al rebit, but that's really the way to make money, to have it compound. Now, the earlier you start, the better. This is where it really, really plays out. When an investor starts investing at a younger age, he's going to benefit a lot more by compounding. To understand this further, we're going back to the math, but I made the first one so simple, you'll just stay right with me and it'll work, okay? Let's take two investors, okay? Investor number one, his name is, let's say, Kiki, okay? Kiki is investor number one. And investor number two is Jojo, okay? And let's say they're both the same age. Now, when Kiki was 25, she took $15,000 and she invested it in like, let's just say in a bank CD of 5.5%, but it was compounded annually. By the time she reached 50, she had, from that $15,000, she had $57,200 in her bank account. Now, Jojo, on the other hand, he wasn't so smart. And you know what? He was like, I'm not going to invest. I'm going to spend all my money. I'm taking my paycheck and buying beer. That's a Jojo liked beer. So he's going to go and buy beer. Okay. And at the age of 35, he woke up and he said, hey, I got nothing saved for retirement. So you know what he did? He took the $15,000 and he invested at the same rate. He also got 5.5%, which was compounded annually. And you know what? By the time Jojo got to 50, you know how much money he had in the bank? And he only started 10 years after. It shouldn't be such a big deal, right? Well, he only had about $33,487, right? So there was a difference of almost $24,000 because Kiki started investing 10 years earlier. She took the same amount of money, but she had that working for her, compounding for an extra 10 years, and the difference was $22,000. Huh. Not $22,000, almost $24,000. That's huge. Now multiply that, and if you keep adding, well, you see how this sort of works, where we're going here, right? So what really happened here? Well, both Kiki and Jojo are 50 years old, and both of them invested the same amount of money at the same rate. But because Kiki started earlier, she has a lot more money. Okay. Now you want to really start getting compound interest on steroids. Start making some annual contributions. If we took that same example above, we started with $15K, and let's imagine that Kiki at 25 took her $15K, but she also said, I'm going to add $2,000 a year to her account, and everything's still at that same 5.5% compounded approach. Now, let's say she keeps this until she retires at 65. Guess how much money she's going to have? You would think, well, okay, she put in $80,000, right, which is from 25 to 65, At $2,000 a year, she put in $80,000 plus $15,000, $95,000. I don't know. Well, you know what? She ends up with $413,000. $413,000. And again, if she were to add, Kiki added a little bit of risk to her investment profile in the hope of getting higher returns, especially over the long term, right? Her nest egg is going to be huge. You're talking about $600,000, $700,000, and it's not so much, right? You took $15,000 and you added just a couple $1,000s a year. It's incredible. That's what they talk about, the magic of compounding interest. You don't have to do so much, but as long as you're sort of consistent, you can make an amazing amount of money. Now, there's a cost of waiting. As I mentioned earlier, right, as we learned from JoJo, the two essential aspects for compounding to work are reinvesting the earnings and time. Each year that goes by without any investment will therefore affect your retirement. If you've got 30 to 40 years left until retirement, every year that you forgo saving or investing money today is going to subtract probably 1 to 5 years from your retirement on the back end, meaning you're going to run out of money. Okay? Now, just start already. You don't have to be wealthy to start investing. If you start saving early and make disciplined contributions annually, monthly, quarterly, I don't care, you're going to retire with a really large and comfortable nest egg. You've been listening to the Aaron Katzman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katzman. We're here to speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. Any questions or comments, feel free to shoot me an email at Aaron, A-A-R-O-N, at Lighthouse with an L, lighthousecapital.co.il. That's Aaron, lighthousecapital.co.il, or you can go to www.aaronkatzman.com. That's www.aaronkatzman.com, aaronkatzman.com. We will see you soon.